Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Dr. Nasir Shaikh Show. I'm your host, Dr. Nasir, and what's on tap for today? Well, we have got Matt Walsh at a question and answer session at his talk for Young America's Foundation. This was at New Mexico State University, and there was a biological male who identifies as a trans woman. He says he's an EMT, and he's asking a question to Matt Walsh about transgenderism and about how he feels on this subject. So let's get to that video and my reaction to it in real time.
Hi, Mr. Walsh. My name is Luna, and I am a nationally registered advanced EMT here in the state of New Mexico. I am also transgender. Throughout my career as an EMT, I have responded to, by conservative estimates, about 1,500 calls for service here in the state of New Mexico. I have treated more transgender people than I can count who will tell me that the support of the people in their lives makes a difference in their lives, and that's been my experience as well. My question for you is, despite all of these transgender people who tell me how great things are for them, I have never once treated somebody who told me that they regretted their transition. Never once. It hasn't happened. So where is this supposed epidemic of people regretting their transitions?
I love the way that Matt just listens quietly, intently, gives respect to the person asking the question, absolutely. But he's just so stoic. I mean, his face, I wouldn't want to play poker with Matt. I don't think so. Anyways, it's just, he just, just take a look at this face here. He's wondering right now, he's formulating an answer to this guy. How can I go ahead and let this person know with logic and reasoning that his thinking is just completely wrong? Let's hear Matt start to disassemble this person's image right now.
Well, you could just ask them. Are you denying that they exist?
I understand they exist. I haven't seen significant evidence of it to nearly the same extent as people who tell me they're happy with their transitions.
Okay, that's fine. You personally haven't seen them. I have. I talk to them all the time, so I know that they're out there. I know they exist. I also know that, I know a couple other things. I also know that the suicide rate, as we established, suicidality for trans people remains sky high even after transition. And I went over in the talk why all of the explanations for that somebody on your side of the discussion might offer don't hold water, they don't work, which tells us that there's something else going on, and which tells us that there's still a deep despair there. So those people who identify as trans, then they transition, and then they kill themselves, a large number, they might not articulate, many of them may articulate this, but they might not articulate that they regret this. But even so, as they say, actions speak louder than words. And so it's pretty clear that there's something deeply wrong here. And it's also clear to me that if transition is supposed to make trans people happier, on a large scale, it's not working. And when you've got suicidality, rate of 50% or more.
And this is so true. If the suicide rate among trans people is 50%, and if transitioning and getting gender affirming care, which I really don't like that terminology because it just basically, so who would be against gender affirming care? That would be like, geriatric affirming care to elderly. Who would be against geriatric affirming care? Nobody. So it's these word salads, it's these word structures that are put together, soundbite answers that sound good. But then when you ask people and say, so you want to put them on medication that's being given to people that are child molesters and rapists, you want to give them puberty blocking drugs that will stunt their adolescence, their growth, and people go, no, that's gender affirming care. And then getting back to the suicidality rate, if the transitioning, whether it's through puberty blockers or through top surgery or bottom surgery or transitional surgery, whatever it is, if that's supposed to make you feel better, why is it that 50%, up to 50%, still commit suicide? There is something wrong. It's not freaking working. That's what Matt's trying to tell these people.
That tells me that this plan for making this group of people who are 50% suicidal isn't working. I mean, if that's not enough to convince you, I don't know what else to tell you. And one other final point that I'll make as well, because we've all these questions, and I appreciate the questions. I appreciate that you guys at least are coming up to talk to me. In most schools, they won't even do that. So I appreciate that. But all of these questions are about, well, this trans person says that they're happy. I say that I'm happy. Even if I were to concede that there may be some trans people who feel like they're happy, I think even then they're lying to themselves and there's a deeper despair there, which is what led them to reject themselves in the first place. But we could put that entirely to the side, because what I'd like to do is get back to the question of, is it true, okay? It might make a man, maybe there's a man out there who feels happier if we affirm him as a woman. Is it true though? Is it actually true? And I would say that the truth matters first before we get to the emotional questions.
That's what it's, truth matters most. Facts matter most. Science matters most. Biology matters most. All these things matter most. But above all, if you don't have truth, you don't have biology. If you don't have truth, you don't have science. If you don't have truth, you don't have facts. If you don't have truth, you have absolutely nothing. Truth must be absolute. It's not my truth, your truth, their truth, someone's truth. It is just the truth and nothing but the truth. So help me God.
So
thank you.
I'll throw it back to you. Biological male says that he's a woman, wants to be affirmed as a woman. Is it true? Is the claim that he's making about himself, is it actually true?
Yes.
Yes. Yes. Let's go back on that one again, okay? I just have to see that again in real time.
And I would say that the truth matters first before we get to the emotional questions. So
let's hear that question from Matt one more time and his response.
I'll throw it back to you. Biological male says that he's a woman, wants to be affirmed as a woman. Is it true? Is the claim that he's making about himself, is it actually true?
Yes.
Yes.
How? How do you know that?
How would you define a woman? Because you've asked other people up here to define how we would define a woman. How would you define a woman, Mr. Walsh?
An adult human female.
And how doesn't a transgender woman fit that definition?
Female.
Because they're not female. They have, you said that you are a biological male, correct?
I said I'm transgender. I might be intersex for all we know. About almost as many people in the world are transgender as intersex.
See, he brings up this intersex question all the time, and that's what happens. It's like when abortion people bring up the part about, rape and incest and the mother being, the mother could die. What are you going to do then? So this is that same straw man that they bring up and go, intersex. Intersex is a medical situation. It is a genetic anomaly that occurs. It is not a part of gender. It is not part of the binary. But they bring it up to try to, take the conversation into a direction that they want to be taken. Say, well, what about intersex people? They don't know what their gender is.
And, well, a lot of people don't know.
Well, but that's a different conversation. Intersex, that's a genetic anomaly, that's a medical condition. So that's a completely different conversation. That's also not a third gender. That's a genetic anomaly that occurs within the sex binary of male and female. What you're saying is that a quote-unquote trans woman is a female?
By the definitions I'm familiar with, yes.
So how would you define female?
Through my training in healthcare, there are several different categories for how we define sex. People bring up chromosomes. People also bring up hormone levels. People bring up all sorts of other categories. Lots of people don't fit neatly into a gender binary, even people we don't consider to be intersex. It's a complicated spectrum.
Complicated.
It's not complicated, but you also didn't define. So what is a woman? What is a female? What do these words mean?
Every time you ask these people just to give a freaking definition, they go into this soliloquy of a word salad that has nothing to do with the definition of the word you've asked them to define. They go off into millions of tangents and say, oh, from what I've been told and from what I've read, and when I was in kindergarten, or when I was when I was 16 in my science class, or my anatomy class, or my biology class, this teacher told me that this is what a woman is, and this is what a man is, and this is what a boy is. And then I was sleeping one day, and then I had a dream, and the dream told me, come on, just get to the definition. But they never do that. Because if they give you the definition, folks, if they try to give it, or they go into that and try to give that definition, they know they can't do it, because then once they give that definition, everything that they set up to this point is completely demolished. It's obliterated. The perception of that reality, which they have as a delusion, is going to be completely become full reality, not perception anymore.
It's complicated, and I know you're not going to like that answer, but that's because there are no simple answers in human biology.
Let me ask you a question.
You guys,
Can I ask you one last question?
just let me finish. You guys like to bring up high school level biology classes a lot. I get that a lot, but people who go on to more complicated biology classes will talk about sex as a...
No, they don't. If medical doctors like myself, if he's talking about that, or you go, you become a PhD biologist, or PhD in genetics or whatever, and if any of those people start to say that a man can be a woman and a woman can be a man, and men can give birth, and men can breastfeed, and men can lactate, just the whole gamut of this lunacy that's going on there, okay? They're absolutely full of crap. They're full of shit. Basically, SHIP, they're full of shit.
A spectrum.
It's not.
Well, biological researchers would disagree with you.
Well, then they're full of shit, the ones that would say that. There are male gametes and female gametes. Oh, I had one last question.
Wait, Mr. Walsh, can I ask a question?
I just had one. I had one quick. Can you come back for 1 second? Because this is an important question. You said you're an EMT.
Yes.
I am too.
Okay, if you're responding to a health emergency. Biological male, somebody with a penis, is having a medical emergency, and they say to you, "I think I'm having a miscarriage." Would you check them to see if they're having a miscarriage? Would you consider that a possibility for them?
Check and mate. Folks, check and mate. Checkmate right there. I'm going to rewind that because this is absolutely, spot on for Matt. Spot on. Let's just go back a little bit and see what's going to happen on this one here.
there are male gametes and female gametes. Oh, I had one last question.
Wait, Mr. Walsh, can I ask a question?
I just had one. I had one quick. Can you come back for 1 second? Because this is an important
Let's hear
question.
this
You
again,
said you're an
folks.
EMT.
Let's hear this again, folks. This is a great
Okay, if you're
question.
responding to a health emergency. Biological male, somebody with a penis, is having a medical emergency, and they say to you, "I think I'm having a miscarriage." Would you check them to see if they're having a miscarriage? Would you consider that a possibility for them?
No, but that's
No,
because some people
but-
don't have body parts. Doesn't mean they're not a woman.
Okay. Sounds like we've established there are some people who, in principle, can get pregnant, and there are some people who can't. So there's two categories, otherwise known as binary.
Lots of women can't get pregnant either.
Yeah, but they're still of the nature to get pregnant. The only
But
reason
they can't get pregnant.
Yes, but
truth matters, right?
it does. That's what I'm trying to explain to you.
Truth matters, and they can't
Okay,
get pregnant. That's the truth. So how are they still women?
Because they are for the same reason that I can rightly say that human beings have two legs. And if a person is born with only one leg, that doesn't call into question the statement that human beings have two legs, okay? A person being born with one leg doesn't mean that now legs are on a spectrum and we can't say anything at all about how many legs a person has. Who knows? They could be a centipede. You know, they could have 100 legs. No, we know human beings have two legs. If a human is born without two legs, something went wrong. They were supposed to have that second leg. Something went wrong. If you meet a person on the street who only has one leg, maybe they had an accident. Maybe they were in war. Maybe something, maybe they were in a car accident. Maybe they had cancer. A leg was cut off. But you know that something went wrong because by their nature, they're supposed to have two legs. Same thing for a woman. A woman by her nature can get pregnant. A man by his nature never can. So if you meet a woman of childbearing age, say she's 28 years old, and she can't get pregnant, you know automatically that something has gone wrong. And she can go to the doctor and find out what that thing is, even if they can't fix it. So that proves that women by their nature can get pregnant because the simple fact that she can't shows you that there's something wrong. This is what is known as the exception that proves the rule. Whereas
And that's so critical here, the exception that proves a rule, that by the very nature, a woman who says that she is of childbearing age but cannot have a child goes to the doctor and finds out there's something anatomically wrong, maybe something, something genetically wrong, something hormonally wrong. She finds out that answer, but by the very nature that she finds out that she can't get pregnant also shows that why can't she get pregnant? Because of reasons that are occurring, but they're reasons because of womanhood, because she's a woman. That's why. She could get pregnant, but in her case, she can't. But like Matt said, a man, he's never going to be able to get pregnant.
if a male with a penis can't get pregnant, no doctor on earth is going to run tests to see what's wrong with him. Because they already know it's that he's a male, and there's only male and female, those who can get pregnant and those who can't. So, that's it. That's that.
Just absolutely classic. That was classic, folks. I really enjoyed doing a reaction to that because and that's the way that you've got to frame the question to these people when they sort of try to, put you in that circular firing squad. And that's what we need to do basically in terms of letting them know that, hey, look, here's a question. If suppose a biological male goes to an OBGYN clinic and tells a doctor that, I can't get pregnant. Start me on IVP, IVF, or give me hormones, or, inseminate, whatever. Is there any doctor that's going to be able, that would do that, would start the battery of tests? Would insurance cover a male trying to get pregnant? Just asking. If an insurance company is going to do that, will we sue an insurance company then? Will that male be able to sue an insurance company saying that they did not allow me to get IVF treatments or did not allow me to go for hormonal treatments or anything that will allow me to get pregnant? I mean, come on, folks. We think that's just ludicrous, but this is what we're talking about this day and age. Anyways, we appreciate you taking the time to watch. You've been watching the Dr. Nasir Sheikh Show. I've been your host, Dr. Nasir. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, like, share, and follow us in the comments below. In the comments below, let us know what you think. My final thought, when you're right, you're right. And when you're left, you're wrong. Until next time, folks, take care and stay safe.